the voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
All right, good morning, everyone. Once again, thank you for taking the opportunity to join us for our call following Week 7 action in Southwestern Athletic Conference play. Just a reminder to everyone on the call, if you could please hit 4 and star to mute and unmute your lines. Once again, 4 star will mute and unmute your lines. With that, recapping action from Saturday, October 12th around the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Southern Jaguars defeated Prairie View A&M by a score of 34-28 in Baton Rouge. Grambling State defeated Alabama A&M by a score of 23-10. Arkansas Pine Bluff defeated Mississippi Valley State by a score of 38-6. Alcorn State defeated Savannah State by a score of 42-7. Missouri S&T defeated Texas Southern by a score of 23-20. And Alabama State defeated Jackson State by a score of 31-16. Just a quick note, the conference office did announce this past week that Cricket Wireless will be the official title sponsor of the upcoming 2019 SWAC Football Championship game, set to be played on December 7th, 2019 at 3 p.m. at the host institution of the highest-ranked team following regular season play. With that, we'll now jump into our call, beginning with Coach Maynard with Alabama A&M. Do we have Coach Maynard on the line?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Good morning to you, Coach. As always, thank you for jumping on the call with us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing against Grambling State.
Well, we had to go down to Baton Rouge, and we knew that was going to be a tough place to go and get a win. I told people all week, you can't look at Grambling record. They play tough out-of-conference schedules and get some money games early, so they don't normally get off to a good start. And so, but I told them, these same Grambling, man, they got a good football team, a great defense still, and it's hard to beat them up there in their place. So we knew it was going to be a tough game, and we struggled on offense. You got to take your hats off to that defense. They played great. It was 7-zip at halftime. They got the ball coming out and drove it down, and we was able to bend but not break and held them to a field goal. So it was a 10-zip game. We finally hit a play on a long pass to Abdul and made it a 10-7 game, and kind of got a little bit of momentum and got a stop and went back and got another field goal. Got a turnover, and the defense bent it back and held us to a field goal to tip. And we tied up 10-10, and it stayed that way till late in the fourth quarter. 5 minutes left in the game, it's still 10-10, and they made a play and got a score off a turnover that we had, and then we was driving and we missed protection, and they got a sack, forced fumble, and they scooped and scored, and that was your ball game. So at the end of the day, it was a great play football game, tough play football game, two good football teams, and they made a couple more plays down the stretch than we did.
Coach Maynard, obviously looking on the schedule, you guys will have a bye. You'll have a week off this upcoming week. Just talk a little bit about what your bye week will look at and some of the things you plan to work on with your guys.
Well, we give guys some days off and try to get back healthy. We played 7 games, so be our first open and want to get some of these bumps and bruises healed up. It's football, you're going to have some bumps and bruises, but want to get as many people in treatment and get them back to full steam as possible. Then go over the fundamentals and kind of break ourselves down offensively, defensively, see what our tendencies are, and see if we can't break some of those tendencies and know exactly what we do well and what we don't. It's a well-deserved. It's coming at a good time. We got a couple people banged up and some offensive linemen. We probably had 4 or 5 different offensive linemen group in the game Saturday because of injury. So we need the week off to heal up and get back right and kind of just evaluate ourselves and go back over the fundamentals.
Coach, obviously big game coming up the next time you step on the field. You guys will be here in Birmingham in the Magic City Classic. Can you preview that game for us?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one because it's the next game, though. For our fans and everybody, it's a huge game every year. They look forward to it, but for us, it's the biggest game of the season because it's the next football game. But Coach Ely's doing a great job down there with those guys. They had another win this week, conference win, and they're playing well. So they know they need to win out, and so do we. It's a rivalry game. They always close. It was last year. It was a good game. All the way, we made a couple more plays than they did last year, and hopefully we can make a couple more plays than them this year. It'll be tough. They got a good football team. They well coached. They play hard. Travis Pearson got the defense playing well, and Coach Ely got those guys playing well overall. So we have to play well. We can't turn the ball over like we did this week. We had 4 turnovers, and you can't win games when you do that. So we got to clean that up and hold those guys down. And we expect it to be a good game, man. But we're up for the challenge. We look forward to it.
Coach, as far as the game goes, I know you talked a little bit about on the field, but for people that haven't been to this game, can you describe the atmosphere of the game?
Yes, it's unbelievable. When I got here last year, all they talked about was the Classic and how many people are going to be there and how long it takes to get the buses in there, and people come in your hotel and in your meetings trying to tell you what to do, and that didn't happen. But the atmosphere in the game and the tailgating, it was people in the tailgating in the parking lot on Monday when I went down to the press conference. I rode by the stadium, and there was already 50 RVs in the parking lot on Monday afternoon. Wednesday is full. They're tailgating Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and the whole parking lot is full around the stadium for probably 3 or 4 blocks around the stadium. Every house, every yard has a tent in it, or they got a day party, or they selling something, they cooking out. It's just unbelievable, man. I mean, every single yard all the way around the stadium for 2 or 3 blocks, and it's just an unbelievable experience. And you get the opportunity to go and witness and be a part of it. You need to put it on your bucket list. It's a great bucket list item to have on there.
All right, Coach Maynard, as always, we appreciate you jumping on the call. Look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Alabama State, where the Hornets defeated Jackson State this past weekend by a score of 31-16. We'll now be joined by Coach Ely with the Alabama State Hornets. Do we have Coach Ely on?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Coach, thank you for joining us. If you could, as always, start us out with an opening comment about your team's last outing versus Jackson State.
Well, like I said, it was one of the times that we went out and played good football in all 3 phases. Jackson State, you're in there for their homecoming, and the game, we was able to get out on them early, and make them do some things that they, probably didn't want to do for us, throwing the ball down the field, which gave us an opportunity to get our run game going. But for the most part, it was just a real good football game. We had some situations where we had a bunch of young guys playing, and from injuries we've gotten through the season and from the week prior, and those guys stepped up and did a great job for us. Jed Evans, backup quarterback, managed a complete game. Freshman center that we had, Blackshear, put him in, and he did a great job of helping us in the middle. So it was just good to see those young guys play and find a way to get out of a very good situation with a win.
Coach, same question we just asked Coach Maynard. Obviously, you guys have a bye week at a very good time after, getting ready for a big opponent here in Birmingham in the Magic City Classic. Can you just talk a little bit about what your team's plans are over the upcoming week?
We got to heal up. We got a lot of guys down, so we got to take this week and heal ourselves and go back through our preparation, how we doing things moving forward, what we've been able to do good, and take those things and try to get better at them as we move the program forward into the Magic City Classic next week. So, but we got to get through this week and doing the right things of catching up on our classwork, all those kind of things, treatment, film studies, and those kind of evaluations that go into, just going to the actual getting better and taking the week off, and then we'll get into next week and start preparing for a football game.
Coach, from what you see looking at this game coming up, what do you feel like are going to be? I mean, we obviously know turnovers and tackling, but outside of those, what are some of the factors that you think are going to be significant for your team to have some success?
Well, the thing about it is, this is one of the biggest games that each program will play in. It's a big game for our fans, for our alumni, and for those young men on the field. So whatever that you see on the tape from the evaluations, you got to magnify that by 10. Those guys and our guys play their best game and at their highest level. The key is the team that protects the football, that defends the ball, and that scores will be the team that win. And it's been that way year in and year out. It's a fourth quarter ball game. The team that has a success for all 4 quarters is the one that wins.
Coach, I want to touch a little bit about the play of Colton Adams on your team, who's actually been awarded SWAC Newcomer of the Week. 7 tackles this week, including 5 solos, and just in kind of analyzing the game, I know he was always around the ball, even though he might not have been credited, with a tackle on every play. But can you just talk a little bit about his performance the past few games for you guys? True freshman out of Wetumpka, local kid that we was able to keep home. He really mans that middle, and that's we definitely got to get Travis Jerome to check on those stats, because I know I heard his name more than 7 times. But we'll take the 7, and but he did a great job of stopping the run that's north and south. He's a real physical guy, can get downhill, plug the gaps, made a lot of plays for us, and he just did a great job for a freshman kid. Coach, similar question to what we asked Coach Maynard when we had him on. Tell us from your perspective, just how big this atmosphere, and also for the first time here, I know in the last few years, this game is actually going to be broadcast on ESPN3, so people will be able to watch it, digitally as well. But if you can talk a little bit about that exposure and the atmosphere of this game. Well, like I told the boys, it's like watching Soul Train in the 70s on a Saturday morning. I mean, it's the only thing going on from Monday to Saturday. Guys are pulling into the stadium, setting up the tents. It's one of the biggest atmospheres that I've seen amongst, any classic, any game, where the fans and the schools and everybody's involved. I mean, from the city, of shutting things down, making sure the transportation is right. It's one of the largest economic inputs in the state of Alabama, with over $22 million coming in, and I don't think it's too many other games that have that kind of drive at this level. And it's an opportunity for our young men to nationally, to play on a national platform and play in those kind of venues. So it's a recruiting selling point. It's a visualization of your program, marketing, branding, all those things rolled up in one. Coach Ely, as always, sir, thank you for your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. The Southwestern Athletic Conference Football Players of the Week for action played on Saturday, October 12th. Alcorn State's Felix Harper, Grambling State's DeAndre McCarthy, Southern's Martell Fontenot, and Alabama State's Colton Adams were all named Southwestern Athletic Conference Football Players of the Week for Week 7 of the season for the outstanding play in league action. Harper threw for 324 yards and 5 touchdowns in Alcorn's 42-17 win over Savannah State on homecoming. He was 16 for 21 in passing with no interceptions. 2 of his touchdowns came on long passes as he connected with Chris Blair for a 71-yard touchdown and Anthony for an 84-yard strike. Since taking over the starter for the last 4 games, Harper has thrown for 1,146 yards, 16 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And for his outstanding performance, he was awarded with a helmet sticker on ESPN's College Football Final. No other way to lead into our next coach. We'll now be joined by Coach McNair with Alcorn State. Do we have Coach McNair on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. As always, thank you for taking some time to join us. And if you could, please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory over Savannah State.
I thought they came out and executed to a high level. They came out playing fast, which we always talk about during the course of the week. Just come out and just been dominating during the total game, which we did in the first half. I thought we did a great job in the first half of scoring 28 points and, during the course of that time, it's just that we just got to finish the ball game the way it should be finished. You're starting off Pringle with a 14-yard pass from Harper. Chris Blair comes up with a 71-yard pass from Harper, and come back Pringle with a 39-yard pass. Pringle with a 39 touchdown pass from Felix. Then get to the third quarter. Turner with a 3-yard run, and of course Chris Blair with another 24-yard touchdown pass from Felix. Great game, great atmosphere, homecoming. Some of these seniors, it won't be just be their last homecoming, so got a chance to see those guys play hard and with a lot of effort. Darrell Henderson played an excellent ball game and put forth great effort. So those guys that are seniors this time got a chance to win on homecoming. So a lot of excitement, great venue, a lot of people. But overall, just played a football game for the most part.
Thank you, Coach. If we could touch on just the play of Harper. I mean, you look at his numbers and just extremely impressive across the board and starting to get some recognition nationally. So can you talk a little bit about that and just about his play overall?
This is a young man that came in for Noah Johnson and he take coaching well. I mean he do what he told for the concepts of what we do and the read his progression. He do it right. I mean that's why he's playing the way he's playing. Take what they give him. Understand the pressure points and getting the ball out quickly. Doing everything right. I mean, he's a coachable kid and very, very humble, at that position. And I think these guys are understanding now, since Noah been out, he's become one of our leaders. He's not a vocal leader. He's a quiet leader. Lead by example. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played. And this kid, he don't feel any pressure. He's very patient, calm under pressure. He do everything the right way. Coach Pat White has done a great job with those quarterbacks of being able to have the next guy to step up, which was Felix, and have him prepared for play. So hats off to Pat the way he's coaching them young men and the opportunity these young men have to play that position and come in and play it well.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with Open Mic. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing great, sir.
All right. Look, a question of the status on Noah Johnson. I know he's been day-to-day, but could part of the play of Felix Harper be part of the extension or just keep him on the shelf until a later date?
No, I hope Noah was ready tomorrow to come out and participate tomorrow, but I let the trainer, do her thing and I put a magic wand on him and let her fix him the best way she can as quickly as she can. So Noah's status is, like we said, from day to day, and he's at practice every day, and he's still being that leader while he's hurt. So hopefully, he'll get right and we'll get back into the fold of things. But I think the way Felix playing is a part of the way Noah was. That brought him along with him. Those guys are good in the room together. They help each other. They do everything the right way. And right now, Noah's out there, supporting him. That's the biggest thing, and he got Noah's support 110%. So that's a great thing to have, especially when you're that starter and now you got somebody else coming in and offense don't even stall. So Noah is a great supporter of Felix. So hopefully that will continue on to the rest of this season and get Noah back into action pretty soon.
Now, that is a very good problem to have, Coach, which is going to lead me to ask, what was the final prognosis of the injury to Noah Johnson, if you're allowed to discuss that?
Well, he just had a sprain on his shoulder, and like I said, his pain tolerance is limited. But other players' pain tolerance is higher than others. Some can play with it, and some can't. So it's one of those things that we're just going to be really patient with him until he get comfortable of being 100% thrown with accuracy and all those things like that. So the biggest thing here is just the pain tolerance that he can take from it. So, but he's doing a good job of staying in the treatment room and doing all the things that he's told to do as far as his treatment to get back healthy.
Okay, and Coach, it seems like you just have this plug-and-play system going on. Someone goes down. It's almost like you designed this thing these last few years, man, when it comes to quarterback, and you just kind of flip that switch. What's the method to the madness on how you're able to keep the train rolling?
I'll tell you what, coming in my first year in 12, I coached quarterbacks, and I had John Gibbs as a starter, and Lenore's Footman was behind him. So John went down in the Southern ball game, and Footman came in, and it's just the teaching at that position, man, and a lot of patience that you have with the guys of teaching them in the classroom and the proper read and the progression and everything that these young men really take part of. Just having a great classroom setting, when John went down, Footman came in. It's been a senioritis thing for these quarterbacks here, man, and every year, their senior year, the quarterback senior year, they go down, and the next guy step up and maybe play as well. So when Footman went down, Noah came in. So here we are again. At the same platform it's been since I've been coaching here. So just being able to train these guys and teach these guys the things in the classroom and knowing the coverages and the fronts and what they see, it's probably the biggest thing that we teach here at Alcorn as quarterbacks and quarterback coaches in the classroom, man, and just the knowledge that these guys have to learn the game.
Coach McNair, obviously this upcoming week you guys have a bye before you get back out there on the field against Southern. Looking at their team, outside of the obvious, what are some of the other things that you see that are going to be critical for your team to have success against them?
Well, the biggest thing is going and being able to execute, run the offense the way it should be run, and play hard on defense. I mean, that's what we're going to work on all week. This week, we don't have any time off. I told the guys this morning in the meeting, we got to go to work. We got a real good football team in Southern coming in 2 weeks, and we got to be prepared, man, and we got to go to work like today. So the guys are excited about, this week and getting some of the guys that's kind of banged up back to the field and just getting healthy through the course of this week. Cause there's no time off. We got to get these guys ready for a good Southern football team, and I think that Southern is playing really good on defense. Coach Odums is doing a real good job with those guys of getting those guys to play the way they're playing on defense. So offensively, we got to do a great job of executing, doing all the things right. Defensively, I think that we got to be able to stop everything that they're doing. They're doing a lot of good things on offense. So we just got to be prepared and play a good Southern football team is going to come in here and ready to play us. So hopefully we'll get these guys ready for the next few days.
Coach McNair, as always, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff, where the Golden Lions got a big home win over Mississippi Valley State by a score of 38-6, and we'll now be joined by head coach Cedric Thomas. Do we have Coach Thomas on the line?
Yes.
Hey, good morning, Coach. If you could, Coach, start us out just with an opening comment about your team's big win at home over Mississippi Valley State.
Great atmosphere. It seems to amaze, just the output of not only the community, but everybody that's associated with these, great men, and to come out and support the product that they're putting out and continue to get better as we, still laying the foundation as we change the culture. 1 o'clock game early. Fans, came out to really support them. And overall, we just put one of our better football games, probably our best football game since I've been here. From efficiency standpoint and just the total execution from the kickoff to the horn blow. We go back and just kind of, the thing all year was just putting the whole game together. We play the first half good and sputter the second half, or play the second half well and don't do well the first half. Kicking game may, play well, and then offense, turn it over 8 times in the last 2 weeks, and, defense have 29 missed tackles, last week for homecoming. But I just thought overall, started with the preparation last Monday. He was just locked in, and they had that overall focus that's expected of them. And it was a direct reflection of what happened on Saturday versus a good Mississippi Valley team. You're talking about really improved. Coach Danz has done a really good job, with the product that he's had. And I just thought overall, our kids just really came out with it on their mind just to, play one complete football game together, and I thought that's what they did.
Thank you for that, Coach. Looking at you guys, obviously you have a bye week this upcoming week before you guys will get back at it against Grambling State at home. Could you preview the upcoming opponent for you guys, the Grambling State Tigers?
Always the staple of the conference, just historically and just always just from a foundational standpoint of this conference. You can't speak the conference without them. So we got to make sure that we get over that hurdle of just the psychological part and mental part. And, Coach Bob's done a great job with that team. I think they won, 2 in a row. But there's not a team that you look at records and say if they're good or not. Their bloodline, they historically and who they are, those kids, not the championship kids or the kids before, but who those kids are. That's a good football team. They play hard, they play tough, physical. May not look like teams of old from schematically or that part, but they still who they are. And as long as that G on that helmet, those guys they play up to that level. So we got to make sure we're not treating this as an off week. We're getting prepared and make sure that we give ourselves all advantages. Going forward. We just got to be ready for a good ball club that's coming in town in a week.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm blessed. How about yourself?
I'm blessed and highly favored as well, sir. Look, a huge win. You showed some dominance, ran the ball almost at will this past weekend, and I heard you talk about the pedigree of Grambling State. What are you looking like health-wise leading to this bye week? There are going to be some key players as you get ready to host Grambling coming up.
For the most part, we're okay. We got Keyshawn Williams, our running back, still waiting to get him back 100%. Jeremy Brown was limited last week at the tight end position. He's really been a great asset to us. So, we got a couple kids, just like everybody in the country. We got some bangs and bruises, and this time it'll be good to get those guys back as we go down this stretch. But overall, it's about what's expected when you're playing, it's physical and contact sport.
Well, Coach, with this weekend that just passed, it was a huge dynamic swing in the standings and everything, and you find yourself in a great position right now with still a lot of football remaining to be played. And I know since you took the job, you spoke highly and often about changing the culture and getting that mindset set. Is that when these implications now start to kick in, and how are you inserting those to your players right now?
Well, that foundation is already, we don't get to where we are now if that's not the thought process. You look at all the games, the close games that we lost last year, and some of the same teams that beat us, whether overtime or just outright. They're not waiting till we get down the stretch to implement that mindset. We got to where we are because of that. My kids are good enough, and they believe that they are good enough. This was just the first week that they actually played a game, a full football game for 4 quarters all the way through. Just they got to understand that regardless of who we play on each Saturday, and starting with Grambling, in 2 weeks, we just got to be prepared. We got to give ourselves the advantages through preparation, hard work, on the field and off the field. But my kids believe now. So I don't think it'll be anybody in the league that's going to scare us or have the psychological edge on, hey, that's so-and-so. Ooh, we got to really do something extra. They believe now. And I think it's a testament of these coaches and administration and just the kids believing that they are. So, we'll get ready, and get healthy, and we'll see where the chips fall in about 2 weeks.
Coach, after the first quarter, it's like your defense really settled down and got into a really good rhythm. What really stood out about the last 3 quarters of what your team did defensively?
Man, I can't speak enough of Coach Quinn, Coach Roberson, and Coach Bradley. I mean, them guys put a great game plan together. I think Val had broke all-time school record in rushing last year, and looked like they was going to repeat that after the first couple of drives. But they did a good job of just settling the kids down and getting them back to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday's practices, and kind of threw some wrinkles out there that they had worked on during the week, and it just did it. And got the kids settled down. They did a good job of reverting back to that, and I thought once they did that and, just got back to keys and reads, I think they just really got a chance to just play, our brand of football defensively, and it was just, a great look for those guys to be able to just settle them down after that adverse drive that they gave up the 6 points, to just have the wherewithal to be able to just settle down and go back to their keys and reads. And I think, what happened after that was just a testament of a good game plan and those guys really focusing in.
Coach Thomason, just touching a little bit about the play at quarterback with Shannon Patrick, just extremely efficient, 21 of 28, 334 yards with 3 touchdown strikes. What have you seen out of him just from a growth standpoint from week to week?
I think the biggest thing now that, he's taking the leadership role is just, the starter. I think it was kind of hit and miss early, be playing every third possession, and he may not get these particular looks, and, he may be kind of rushing or pressing to try to make something happen. But now that we just kind of, taking the reins off and made him the starter, now he get to drive the car. And I think that's what's happening now. He knows that he's going to get every snap, he's going to get every look, and he don't have to go and press to try to make things happen with the football. I think a lot of those turnovers just came with trying to make a splash play because you don't know how many series he's actually going to play. But since he's been, named the starter, it's a workman's-like mindset of, hey, I got to make these particular plays, and I'm leading this offense when I'm out here.
Coach Thomas, as always, we appreciate your time on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Grambling State, where the Grambling State Tigers had a big win this past weekend over Alabama A&M at home, winning by a score of 23-10. We'll now be joined by head coach Broderick Fobbs. Do we have Coach Fobbs on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. As always, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing against Alabama A&M.
Well, it was a good, very beautiful day for football. Both teams came out, played extremely hard. It was definitely a hard-fought football game, and play here, play there, and we were fortunate, to come out with victory. I thought, our fans and the community, really did an awesome job of really coming out on High School Day and really giving us support and the push that we needed to kind of help us out. So my hat's off to Coach Maynard. I think he does an exceptional job. His team is always well coached, really good offensive plan, and defensively played well as well. I just think a couple plays here or there, and it kind of went in our favor.
Coach McCarthy followed up a really good performance last week with another exceptional outing this past week against Alabama A&M. He tallied 14 tackles, highlighted by 1.5 tackles for loss and 1.5 sacks. He also got credited with the quarterback hurry. You touched on it last week about him just kind of getting back into the fold, but how much improvement and what did you see out of him from where he started last week to this most recent game against Alabama A&M?
Well, I tell you, he's kind of the heartbeat of what we do, defensively, and it was kind of tough, for us, not having him in the lineup, the first, 4 weeks or so, but it was good to get him back and really, allow him to, just play the game the way he's capable of playing and run and play, and he plays extremely hard, and I think that's something that helps him out, a great deal. And I think it also kind of exudes through him to everybody else, which impacts our entire team and also our defense. So he's done an exceptional job, and I'm just fortunate and glad that we got him, and he's playing pretty good.
Coach, I know one of the things looking at the stat line from the game that stood out was just what you guys were able to do as far as against them offensively running the ball. You held them, I believe, at 48 total yards and really did a good job of containing Jordan Bentley. Can you talk a little bit about the performance of your guys on defense as far as stopping the rush?
Well, it's probably one of our better performances this year. And, our defensive staff, Coach Todd and Coach Ware and Coach Graves, and they've done an exceptional job along with Coach Fuller of, putting a plan together. And, I thought they did a really good job of stopping the run. But then also, I thought there were times where we were in the right place in the passing game for the most part. There were just some times that they missed on some throws that we were fortunate, to get and take advantage of, and things worked out for us.
Coach, obviously you guys got a bye week this upcoming week before you travel to play Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Can you preview that matchup against UAPB for us?
Yeah, I mean, they are a heck of a football team, and I've said that for the last 2 years. They do an exceptional job coaching. They have great players, and their players believe in themselves, and you can definitely see it. They got after us pretty good last year, really ran the football and threw the football at will on us last year. We were just fortunate, to stay close and have a chance, to kind of steal it in the end, but, they're doing an exceptional job, and it's definitely going to be a tough ball game. Of course, we need this week off, to kind of get ourselves back going and get a couple of guys healthy and be ready to go, for next week, So we're looking forward to it, going over to Arkansas, which is always a tough place to play. And it's going to be a really good ball game.
Coach, against them, it'll be a similar, I'm assuming, game plan as far as, you guys trying to do a good job of stopping the rush. They've got some really strong core running backs. When you look at them on film, what are some of the things that have kind of stood out from you from that perspective for them offensively?
Well, I mean, they're good in several areas. I mean, they can throw the football as well as run the football. And that's the mark of being a really good football team, but then also a great offense. You take something away, they're able to do something else, and they're able to do it well. And that's something that my hat's off to them, because they're doing it with some young kids, that are really, really exceptional football players. So it's going to definitely be, a battle. It's going to be tough, and it's something that we look forward to. We love tough matchups, and we love tough physical ball games, and we're looking forward to it.
Hey, Coach, my last question. You guys started out, obviously the first few weeks, on the road, obviously the game against Prairie View in Dallas. How good did it feel to be at home this past weekend?
Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say it did feel well, to not be on the bus, traveling somewhere. And, it's a tough deal, and extremely tough, to play your first home game in October, but at the end of the day, you play the games regardless, and, there's no excuses about it. You go out and play. At the end of the day, all fields are the same length and the same width. You just got to find a way, to win football games and ultimately win football games in September.
All right, Coach Fobbs, as always, sir, thank you for joining us on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Jackson, Mississippi, where the Jackson State Tigers dropped a 31-16 decision to Alabama State. We'll now be joined by head coach Hendrick. Do we have Coach Hendrick on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. As always, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing versus Alabama State.
Well, we played a game Saturday that we kind of donated some things to them early in the game, gave them opportunity to get a little lead on us, and just never got ourselves back in kiltered again, and ended up losing the game 31-16. Gave them a couple short fields really early in the game. I think we gave them a 30-yard drive on a bad punt, maybe another 30-some-odd yard drive on a bad punt, and you can't give people short fields in this day and age in football because they're going to take advantage of it. And then they did a nice job on defense against us, and we didn't convert enough first downs and move the ball well enough to to assure us to have opportunity to play a little bit better on defense than we had in previous games, which is encouraging. But, nonetheless, we dropped the game to them last Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. And you talked a little bit about what they were able to do against you guys from a defensive perspective. When you look at the rushing numbers, I know you guys finished with 66 yards, but when you went back and looked at the film, what stood out in particularly of areas that you want to see your guys improve on?
Just finishing, finishing blocks, finishing runs, making the right hole read, hitting the hole properly, and then, and then some of the yards are 66 yards. Some of that was taken away by sacks. I think we had rushed a little bit more than that, but the sacks negated some of those yards. But just making sure that we finished blocks, and we also had some things that hurt us during the game. I believe we had about six drop passes in situations where we needed to catch the ball that stopped us from continuing drives and making first downs. And you can't make those kind of mistakes in football games.
Coach Hendrick, just looking at your upcoming matchup, you guys will travel to Edabina, Mississippi, to face Mississippi Valley State this weekend in a game that's going to be broadcast nationally on ESPN3. Can you preview that matchup for us, and also just talk a little bit about the good exposure you guys get getting an ESPN game?
Well, it's always good to get exposure, allow people to see you. And being national exposure is a good thing because now people on the West Coast as well as the East Coast and in the Midwestern area and then also in the Southwestern area get an opportunity to watch us play, which I think is really good for our football team. In terms of going to play Valley, this is a big game for us, and then it's a rivalry game right up the road, an hour and a half, and Valley and Jackson State goes back a while, and they bring a lot of energy to the game. They're kind of feeling their way, trying to find their way like we are. They play really good defense. I think they do a good job of running around, chasing the ball, and striking people on defense. They have a quarterback back there who does a really good job of running around and beating you with his legs. Good receiver on the outside who can catch the ball on you, go up and make a play against you. So it'll be a challenge for us. And like I said, it's a game where you got two teams that are trying to find themselves and that have a history. And so it ought to be a really, really good football game.
And Coach, that kind of was going to lead me into my next question, just talking a little bit about the rivalry. I know Jackson State has several, big-time rivals in the conference with, obviously when you guys play Alcorn and you play Southern. But this is one that for the past, few years has been a competitive game. So can you just talk a little bit about what type of atmosphere that you guys are going to be expecting when you go down there to play them?
Well, I mean, they're coming in, and like I said, they're licking their wounds like we are, and it's two teams that really need to try to find a way to win the game. And so I'm expecting the kind of atmosphere that people will come. I know our people will show up for the game. I'm sure their people will be there. So I'm expecting a really good crowd, and I'm expecting a lot of energy from both teams trying to find a way to win a football game.
Coach Hendrick, as always, we appreciate your time on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Mississippi Valley State, where the Delta Devils suffered dropped a 38-6 decision to Arkansas Pine Bluff. There on the road, we'll be joined by head coach Dancy, and we are a few minutes ahead of schedule here. So, Coach Dancy, we appreciate you joining us on the call early. So, with that, do we have Coach Dancy on the line?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. If you could, start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
I thought we went and played a very, very good football team. Coach Thomas done a great job with, changing the culture and continuing to do great things over there at Arkansas Pine Bluff. I thought they was, from the start, I thought we put two good drives together. One, we drove it all the way down and got to the 10-yard line, and 3rd and 8 situation, we threw an interception. Then we came right back and scored. And after that, I think they put together two good drives and capped the lead before halftime and put another touchdown together before halftime, which gave them a lot of momentum and coming back, getting the ball right after halftime and scoring. So I thought they did a good job of attacking us where we was weak and making more plays than we did, and we just couldn't put any points on the board, and we couldn't stop them when we needed to stop them.
Coach, obviously this upcoming week you guys have a big outing at home. You guys get to host Jackson State. Can you talk a little bit about previewing that game for us, and then just a little bit about some of the exposure that game will bring for your program, being that it'll be broadcast on ESPN?
Another good opponent coming in. I think those guys are right there alongside like we are. Dying for a win, man. They've been close in a lot of games, fighting hard, playing good defense. Just can't muster out a win. But I think it'll be two teams that in-state rivalries that rival go back for years. So I think it'll be a good game between two in-state teams who need a win. As far as the exposure, great exposure. ESPN 3 game gives our fans who can't be here a chance to see us play nationally, man. And it also gives our players a lot of exposure. So it's going to be a great televised game. I think it'll be a hard-fought game here. So I'm looking forward to the matchup.
Coach, just taking a step back against your game most recently against Arkansas Pine Bluff, Jerick Bryant was 8 of 19 for 80 yards and had 3 interceptions. What are you looking for him this upcoming game to kind of bounce back and get back on track?
Just being more consistent, understanding that, if we don't turn the ball over, that we put ourselves on a better chance to win each and every ball game. I understand he wants to make plays, but just want him to be more consistent and efficient with the passing game, not asking him to do, too much in the passing game, because we know we got a talented kid that can do a lot of things with his legs and arms, but just not turning the ball over. I think we shoot ourselves in the foot when we turn the ball over, and that's been the same. That's been for the last 3 games. That's been, kind of who we are. We've been turning the ball over a lot, putting our defense in terrible situations, and I think we have a good enough defense, and we don't put them in, bad situations that we can win the game. But, the Jerick understands. He's a senior. He's been in this position before. We're going to go out this week and continue to work hard and go get back in the classroom, get back on the board, and get this thing turned around for this week.
And, Coach, just on the defensive side, looking at obviously, Tracy Tompkins, his numbers have been, pretty steady every year. He's almost in double digits in tackles, seems like every game. But another one of your student athletes, Tadarius Davis, had 8 solos, 6 assisted, 4 total tackles, and 2 tackles for loss. Can you touch on his performance for us?
It was a good performance by Tadarius. Nothing that I don't expect from this young man. I think last year he was second in the conference in tackles. So right now, it's good to see that now he's, turning it around at this point of the season. And like I said, it's nothing that I haven't seen before. Proud that he's, doing his job and doing what he needs to do to help this defense, improve week in and week out. And as far as Tracy Tompkins, just a consistent football player, smart young man, and always in the right position to make the play.
Coach Dancy, as always, we appreciate you taking time out your day to hop on the call with us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. While we do have some time, we'll go ahead and preview Week 8 action around the Southwestern Athletic Conference for this upcoming weekend. Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Alcorn State, Grambling State, and Arkansas Pine Bluff will all have byes this upcoming week. As we previously said on the call, Jackson State will be at Mississippi Valley State. Prairie View A&M will host Virginia Lynchburg for homecoming there in Prairie View, Texas. And Texas Southern and Southern will face off in Dallas this upcoming weekend. Southwestern Athletic Conference Players of the Week for this past week of play. As we noted, Offensive Player of the Week was Felix Harper. Defensive Player of the Week was DeAndre McCarthy for Grambling State. We actually have an adjustment for the Special Teams Player of the Week. That award goes to Cesar Barajas with Southern University. He played a significant role for the Jaguars in their 32-28 home win over Prairie View A&M on Saturday as he connected on 2 field goals, tallying a total of 6 points in Southern's victory. We'll now go to Prairie View A&M, where the Panthers dropped a hard-fought 32-28 decision to the Southern Jaguars this past weekend in Baton Rouge in a game that was broadcast nationally on ESPN3. And with that, we'll be joined by head coach Dooley with Prairie View A&M. Coach Dooley, if you could, as always, just start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing at Southern.
Yes, we had opportunity to go down to Baton Rouge and play a good football team, and you're talking about a great college atmosphere for to play a football game. I thought my team came out and they fought. They fought for 60 minutes, and they played well in certain areas. But the thing that that stood out and has been hunting us this whole year. We can't allow ourselves to continue to create these penalties that is affecting us. But more than that, our kids fought hard and they played for 60 minutes. Unfortunately, we came out on the wrong end of it. We didn't get the victory. But we're going to keep fighting and keep finish this season off strong.
And Coach Dooley, if you could, you guys will get back home this upcoming weekend. Big game, homecoming, always an exciting, festive atmosphere there at Prairie View A&M for homecoming. Can you talk a little bit about and preview your matchup with Virginia Lynchburg for homecoming?
Yeah, we got a chance to watch those guys and see what they bring to the table. They're a team that they play an exciting football right now. Of course, they don't have the best record. Neither do we. But it's going to be a good football game for us. We just got to get back on the road of wanting to be in the win column, and we just got to play some sound and disciplined football.
Appreciate that, Coach. And just one more quick question for me. Jalen Morton, obviously almost 300 yards passing. What he did rushing was equally as impressive with the 133 yards rushing and touchdown from the quarterback position. Can you talk a little bit about his play against Southern this past weekend?
Yes, I thought Jalen came in and, so far he played his best game this year. Unfortunately, it wasn't in a victory, but he played his best game and, did some things for us to help us to keep us in the game. So I'm pleased with him. Just got to continue to keep plugging away. You can see the growth in Jalen because of the things that he's been able to correct as the season goes. So hats off to him. Just got to continue to go and let him continue to lead us in the right direction.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you this morning, sir?
Good morning. I'm well, and you?
I'm doing quite well. A good balanced attack, 31 runs, 32 passes, and a balanced attack. But was there any reason why Dewanye only had like 14 total touches or 14 rushes and 1 pass? Was it something that you were seeing that maybe you tried to take advantage of in other areas?
No, we play the game. Things that we're going to do. We're going to we're attacking style offense. We're going to a lot of times we take what the defense give us, but we try to spread the ball around regardless of who's having a good game because we want to be balanced, and we're going to do the things that's going to help us be successful. And at that time, we saw some things that we were able to do, and we just took full advantage of that. Nothing that did to take the ball out of Dewanye's hand, just the way the ball bounced. And Jalen was having a good night and just continue to try to feed him as well.
Okay. And, Coach, you were very aggressive on 4th down against Southern, and I guess that was part of whatever you were going to take. But there was a particular 4th down call. It was 4th and 2, and there was like a trick play with Wallace. Can you explain what was the scenario on that, and what is it that you thought you saw that could work on that play?
We knew that the advantage we saw it was at the right end of the football field that we feel we had we can take advantage of it. It was there. Just unfortunate someone leaked through the left side and took Wallace off his game, what he needed to do. But what we wanted to accomplish was there, just didn't execute the play fully, so it didn't work for us.
Okay, and on the last series, it was down deep in your territory, and it was a 4th down 4 down situation, 3rd and 9. And instead of trying to get like maybe half because you knew it was going to be a 4-down situation, was it something that Jalen may have saw? Did you guys tell him don't try to get it all in one play when he went up top on that 3rd and 9 and forced a 4th and 9?
Well, he had a lot of options, and fortunately, the option that came open was the ball that he saw. So we never question what he does. He's on the field and he saw what was there for us and took a shot at it. Of course, it didn't come out right, but if it had been completed, then it had been a great decision by him, but it didn't. So we live with that, and we just got to build off and keep moving forward.
Right. Now, I look at this game, Coach. It was a game, and if you allow me to explain in this terminology, I'm giving credit to Southern. They beat you, but it was more of a game that was lost with the 2 field goal missed opportunities, and then, once again, the penalties of 12 penalties for 107 yards. And I know that you just expressed in your opening statement that is something that is of major concern. I know that can become frustrating throughout the course of the game because the talent is obviously there, but then how do you correct the self-control on key penalties and crucial drives?
Well, you got to correct that. We got to keep pressing at that. That's on me. I'm the head coach, and I'm the one that got to get this team going. They got to get this team going in the right direction. And those little things that are being a thorn in our side, we got to correct those things. And that's what we are going back to the drawing board on and make sure that we get those things correct. So we'll move forward and keep pressing and keep fighting to play some good football and see how it all unfolds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Homecoming this week, and I know a lot of distractions can come with the homecoming. What's the message you're telling you guys, man? They still got a lot of football remaining in this season.
Homecoming is not for us. Homecoming is for those individuals have graduated and coming back to view their campus, their beautiful campus. So our guys understand what we're trying to accomplish. Homecoming is not for us. We're going to stay focused and know the task that is at hand. Our homecoming starts Saturday at 2 o'clock, so we are looking forward to it, and I think we got a mature group that understand the magnitude of the game.
Coach Dooley, looking at you guys' stats numbers from Southern, Trayshawn Smith had an impressive game. He had 5 solo stops, 4 assisted for a total of 9 tackles, and he also had 3 tackles for loss, including a sack. Can you speak to us a little bit about his individual performance defensively?
Yes, he's the guy. I'll tell you. He's a little banged up, but he's going to lay it on the line every play, every game. So I'm very pleased with him. The things that he's been able to accomplish thus far. Right now, he's our lead on defense for us, making plays as well. So we know when it's time for work, he's going to come to work and going to give it everything that he has, regardless of his injuries or his, the things that are nicks and bruises. So very pleased in him. Just unfortunately, when a guy have a game like that, you would like to have a W behind it. But we know he'll keep pushing forward and get better as this season goes on.
Hey, Coach, Drake Cheatham and Jalen Harris, both with big interceptions in that game. What did you see from those 2 guys?
Yeah, played hard. Those guys played hard. Our secondary has been coming together in bits and pieces, and they got great chemistry right now. So those guys are, playing hard. Pleased with their play as well. But, once again, the biggest thing that we can accomplish would be a W.
All right, Coach Dooley, as always, sir, we appreciate you jumping on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you next week. We now go to Baton Rouge, where the Southern Jaguars got a big 38-28 win over Prairie View A&M on ESPN3, and we'll be joined by Coach Dawson Odums. Do we have Coach Odums on?
Yes, it's Coach Odums.
Hey, good morning, Coach Odums. As always, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's last outing, your win over Prairie View A&M.
Well, first of all, I think Jaguar Nation was very electric. I mean, we had a great environment for college football. Our fan base was really locked into what we were doing and very engaged to the game. The game went back and forth. I thought in the first half, defensively, we played really, really well and, gave ourselves a chance to be in a ball game. They had the ball several times in the red zone, and I think they were 2 for 6 in the red zone. And when you play good red zone defense, they give you a chance to win football games. And offensively, once we got going, I really thought after the opening drive, we left some plays out there to be made. But at the end of the day, I think they got it going, and every time we would push it up to 10, they would cut it to 3, and our offense would find a way to get 7. And it's a good team win for us. I thought special teams was very good. We had the one block kick, then we answered the bell and blocked the kick ourselves. The kickoff return team was good. And I think when you playing against really good football teams, and they're a really good football team, you look at different areas of the game and say where you can be efficient in. And I really thought this game came down to a few plays. But when you look at red zone, 2 for 6, and we were 5 for 5. And then you look at penalties. We had 4 penalties for 33 yards, and they had 12 for 107. And I think that's where you try to steal yards when you're playing against really good football teams. And I thought we was able to do that.
Coach Odums, obviously we talked a little bit about what they did defensively and some of their standout players, but obviously you don't win games like that without having some guys on your side of the ball that, put up some good performances. And one of the student athletes on your team whose numbers stand out just looking at the stat line is Carter. Had 7 total tackles, 5 solos, 2.5 tackles for loss. Can you touch on his play individually, and then who else did you feel like stood out for you guys?
Well, I thought he played, he accepted the challenge. He had an unsportsmanlike a couple of games ago, and that cost him a chance to be the starter. And he's working his way back. And, he's able to get back in the games now, and he's one of our better football players. But, we really hang our hat on discipline and really try to get our guys to do the right things. And sometimes as coaches, you got to make tough decisions. And one of my pet peeves is we don't really, tolerate unsportsmanlike penalties because it's the greatest self-control that an individual can have in football. So he went through that, and he's working his way back, and he's playing exciting football. And I'm happy for him because it's a process. It's a process to get these young men to where you want them to be in life so they can be successful. He's answered the bell. He's back playing really well. But Joe Davis is another guy that stands out for us on defense. Joe is doing really well for us. He's impacting that defensive line. And really, that's what starts for us on defense. But offensively, I think Devon being and Darius Skelton, the 2 interceptions are what people see. But he really responded like a leader, and that's why we're able to win the football game.
Hey, Coach, it's Jim Klein-Peter.
Hey, Jim. How you doing, my man?
Oh, just got on. Hey, look, would you talk a little bit about Tamari Smith? He's playing a lot more. He started the last couple of games for you, cornerback. 3 games in a row he's had a pick for you now. What's been the key to his resurgence?
Well, just give him an opportunity, and that's what I talk to assistant coaches about all the time. And you can't, coaching can't be about feelings. We got a lot of guys on our football team, and I really believe in giving guys an opportunity. I'm only the head coach at Southern University because somebody gave me an opportunity, and you make the best of it. And I'm the same way as a coach. Give some of these guys an opportunity, and let's not fail them before we give them an opportunity. And once he got his opportunity, he took full advantage of it, and he's been playing really well and getting better each and every week. And, that's what's good about it. And I'm proud of him. It's the first time in, I think, about 4 years that we had a legal knockout award. And that's a big award for us because it's hard to do in today's football game without going helmet to helmet. But to get one and not be able to hit somebody for targeting, that's pretty impressive, and he was able to get that award for us for this week, and that's, to me, that's big in the game of football and doing it the right way, and that's what we always talk about. I'm happy for the young man. He came here because he was looking for an opportunity to play, and now he's getting it. He's making the best of it, Jim.
Mm-hmm. Did he? How did he look when he first got here? Did it take him some time to get up to speed?
Well, he was a late arrival. He didn't get here until the summer, so. Once he came in, it took a little while to learn what we was doing, and it took us a while to learn him. So once he got an opportunity, he got injured a little bit in fall camp, so he missed a lot of time. But once we got into the season and Robert Rim went down, we had to get somebody else ready to go. So his reps went up. As we increased his reps, he was able to really show us what he was capable of doing. And once he got a chance to go in and play, he, like you said, he's just made plays, and that's increased his confidence, and he's getting better every week.
Okay, your running game, second week in a row, over 200 yards. And Devon Ben looks like he's playing his best ball right now the last 2 weeks. Is there something, has he just notched it up another level?
Well, I think we back to his days at John Curtis. Sometimes I think as individuals we try to be something that we're not. God gave each and every one of us a toolbox, and all of us got different tools in our box. So let's just use the ones that he gave us and be great with using those. And I think that's what Ben is getting back to. He's blessed with power and low center of gravity, and he don't have the best top end speed, but use those other tools that have been gifted to you and do them really well. And I think that's getting back to who Devon Ben really is, and you had a chance to see that on Saturday.
Did he get nominated for the Knockout Award with that truck job he did?
Well, see, the Knockout Award, Jim, they can't come back in the game. This guy got back up, so he wasn't able to get it. But it was a true Devon Ben run.
Well, I also noticed that y'all seem to really get into a rhythm when Devon's getting an option pitch out, and then Ladarius is picking up yards on keepers. It seems like y'all have gotten away from trying to take deep shots downfield, and when you need to really hold the ball, that's what y'all start doing. Is that kind of your game plan now?
Well, they taking the deep pass away, so you have to take whatever the defense gives you, and that if you're able to run the ball, it'll open up the passing game will open up, and everybody knows since we've been here, we win because we try to run the football, and that allow us to control the clock, that allow us to wear down defenses, and that allow our defense to have a chance to rest. And when you can do that, it's a formula for success. That's been the calling card since I've been here, and Coach Berry and the offensive staff, they do an outstanding job of game planning. Teams go stack the box, put 7, 8 in the box, and force you to throw the ball. Now Ladarius will have to make some decisions, and we got some receivers that can make some plays. But I think everybody we play against are gonna try to first and foremost stop the run, and if they do that, then we gotta have some one-on-one battles that we gotta win, and we capable of doing that as well.
Would you talk a little bit about Ladarius's running ability? And I don't mean when he's scrambling, but it seems like he really runs that option to perfection. He knows just when to let go of the ball or when to keep it.
Well, it's a good formula for us. I think it's a great package that we have. And I was at Georgia Southern, and I'm an option guy by background. That's what I spent most of my time in when I was on offense. So I understand how much pressure it puts on the defense, and he's as good as they come. He's a natural runner. He has that ability. Ladarius Skell could play wide receiver, running back, defensive back. He's talented. He just happened to be our quarterback, but his skill set at running the football is second to none on the team. He's a really talented runner, and once he gets in the open field, you see him do some things that say, wow.
Hey, Coach, how you doing this morning? It's Ty Miller calling from the Power News Sports Radio Network.
Doing great, Ty. How you doing?
I'm good, Coach. Can you talk about the State Fair showdown and how big this game is so far as the West standings are concerned with Texas Southern next week, and why these Tigers are not as indicative of the 0-6 record?
They're a very good football team, and you can't really look at records. I think the winless Jets beat the Cowboys yesterday, so it's throw records out the window. Each week you got to play against the guys that's on the field, and as coaches, we got to do everything that we need to do to get our team best prepared for the opportunity in front of them. I think they're a good football team. They can score. They're really good on defense. They have some talent. And it'll be another tough challenge, and I think it's going to be like that every week. There's no need to look no further. This is a good football team. We ain't worried about their records. They go come ready to play, and we got to get our football team ready to play.
Coach, what does playing in Dallas do for your team at this time of the year so far as when high school kids start to think about where they want to go to college?
Well, it just gives you a chance to showcase your product to a recruiting base and a fan base. We got a large fan base in Dallas, and we get a chance to recruit. One of my coaches is from Dallas, so we recruit the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and hopefully we'll be able to have some fans there and be able to play really good football and showcase to people of the Dallas-Fort Worth area that Southern is a place that they can come and be successful at.
What do you see in the Tigers offense, starting with Devin Williams, that has made them so competitive?
I mean, they got some skill. I mean, they got very good receivers, and the quarterback is making good decisions with the football and running game. They got a big bruiser back there, number 30. He's a very good running back and gets downhill, squares shoulders up, and it's a challenge. I mean, I think all the offenses in this conference can score points, and every week there's no rest for defenses. You're going to have to figure it out, and you're going to have to have great game plans, and guys are going to have to rise to the challenge and make plays because you're going to get tested every week. They're very explosive, especially at the wideout position.
Coach, one more question. This is Jim Kleinpeter. Donnie Corley's leading the SWAC in receiving for them. Have you been able to see much of him on video, on tape?
Very good. Very good. It's the reason he's leading the conference. Got soft hands, really catch the ball, good speed, and they do a very good job of moving them around and getting them the football. So we'll have our hands full. We'll have to get ready to go play because this is a very good football team. The ball just haven't bounced their way. Coach McKinley's doing a good job. I know it's not the record you want to have, but you can see the improvement, and all you got to do is stay the course and keep working, and they're doing that.
Coach Odums, as always, we appreciate your time on the call this week, sir. We look forward to speaking with you next week.
No problem. Did they when they run out on the field, I think as a conference, we need to look at how teams take the field. We need to look at how teams take the field.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. As a conference, we need to look at how teams take the field.
We now go to our last call of the day. We'll be joined by head coach Clarence McKinney. This past weekend, Tigers dropped a 23-20 decision at home to Missouri S&T, and we'll now be joined by Coach McKinney. Do we have Coach McKinney on the line?
Coach McKinney here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. If you would, please, as always, just start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing against Missouri S&T.
Okay. Good morning. Tough loss on last weekend to Missouri S&T. But once again, it sounds like a broken record, but we feel like our team has shown a tremendous amount of improvement. We're still making some little mistakes that are not helping us get in the win column. But our guys are playing extremely well at certain points throughout the game, and we're just going to keep plugging away until those wins start happening.
Thank you for that, Coach. And just obviously looking at that game, very easily could have shifted it in your favor. When you went back and you analyzed film, if you could just be at liberty to speak with us, what stood out as far as when you looked at it and you said, hey, if we would have did this a little bit better or did this different, we might have been successful?
The most glaring mistakes, I think, you find turnovers, penalties in the red zone, sacks in the red zone. And those are things that you can't do if you want to be successful. When you get in the red zone, you got to continue to go forward and score touchdowns. And we had some sacks in there and some penalties where we had to kick some field goals, and you're not going to win very many games if you're only kicking field goals and not scoring touchdowns.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with Open Mike. How are you, sir?
Good. How's it going, Mike?
All right. I know it's a tough loss at home, and before you focus on the Southern game coming up in Dallas, what was it like for you guys to play on campus in front of a home crowd in comparison to playing at BVPA?
It was a special atmosphere, to play here on our campus and have all of the alumni, former players to come back and support the team.
I believe we had close to 30,000 people on campus, and the stadium was pretty packed as well. Our guys really appreciated the support, and it was just special to have a game back here on campus.
Okay. Now, Coach, of course, the field goal that was missed that could have led into overtime, what did you say to your kicker after that game to let him know that, A, we still have confidence in you, and then, B, you got to get that out your system because we got a big conference game coming up this week?
You know, he just missed one. You know, his kid had been kicking really well for us all year. I believe he missed his first field goal of his career in the Prairie View game and went something like 10 in a row. We'd send him out there this week if we get that opportunity to make it, and we feel like he'd kick it and make that kick. So it's not not a matter of him losing confidence or us losing confidence in him. He's our kicker. We believe in him, and if that situation arises again, we're going to put him out there and let him go make those.
All right. Now, leading up to this Dallas game, of course, it's going to be a neutral site. Do you see that as a part of an advantage for you guys to possibly steal a win this weekend?
I don't think the site is going to be an advantage. You know, the field's the same length, same width, and, you know, Southern travels well, so I'm sure they're going to have a lot of people there. We just got to go out and play the right way, take care of the ball, play penalty-free football, and you know, give our best effort and see what happens.
All right, and my final question is going to be like a combo question, Coach. Speak about your quarterback play in the status of Johnson and how Williams has been playing.
We feel like Devin Williams has been playing extremely well. He's done his job as far as being the backup with DeAndre out. He's led the teams on some great drives. He's put us in position 2 weeks in a row to win the game. So we like what we see out of Devin, and, you know, we don't know the status of DeAndre just yet. Hopefully we'll hear from the doctors today or in the morning to find out what his status is. But we have all the confidence in the world in Devin. Preseason, it was a heated quarterback battle between those two. We feel like we could have gone with either one of those guys. And no matter who it is, we feel comfortable with that guy behind the center.
Hey, Coach, this is Jim Kleinpeter from The Advocate. Does DeAndre have a chance to play this week, or are you looking further down the road?
I can't answer that question at the moment because I'm waiting to hear from the doctors. So.
Okay, and what's his injury? Is it an arm, knee, ankle?
It's an undisclosed injury.
Okay. Well, could you talk a little bit about Donnie Corley? He looks like he's having a pretty good season, you know, despite the record and everything. What are some of his attributes?
Yeah, Donnie's having a really good season for us. I think his best attribute is he catches the ball. You know, he uses his hands. He has really soft hands. He runs great routes. He's a tall, fast, strong kid. He's what we need at receiver. And he's been a really, really bright spot within our offense. He's sort of a comfort net for our quarterbacks.
Yeah. In your first year, and I know the victories, you know, haven't been coming, but are you satisfied with the direction the program's going? Do you feel like you have some of the pieces falling into place, at least moving on as you move down the road?
Yeah, we're not satisfied, but we feel like we're going in the right direction. You know, we feel like each week we're improving. You know, we got to learn how to win, as well as we're learning our systems, we're learning our schemes, and we're trying to learn how to win at the same time. So it's just going to be a work in progress, and we have to trust the process and just continue to push forward.
Hey, Coach. Good morning to you. Ty Miller from the Power News and Sports Radio Network. How are you?
Good morning, Ty. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Coach, can you talk about your team's second halves, which seems to be a problem area for you, and how you can improve that?
I don't think it's so much of the second half. I think it's more of the third quarter. And we've come out sort of flat in the third quarter. And it's a situation that has not helped us. We've gotten in holes in the past few games. So I think the way we got to correct that is simulated in practice this week. You know, we'll simulate a halftime with a break and come out and try and fire it up, get our guys going a little faster after breaks.
Coach, have you talked to your team about being a factor down the stretch in the Southwest Conference race?
You know, we just treated one game at a time. We go from week to week. I know it's easy for guys to look ahead, but we can't afford to look ahead. We got to look forward to the game this week, and you know our goal is just to get a win at the end of the week. And whatever happens at the end of the season happens. We're focusing on Southern this week, and we're trying to get a win for the season.
Coach McKinney, as always, really, really appreciate your flexibility on hopping on the call early when we have you, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. This now wraps up our teleconference for today. As always, thank you for all of our media members that jumped on the call, and for the latest information about Southwestern Athletic Conference football, please visit us at www.swac.org. Thank you.